So, hello and welcome to the second launch in Flinty Goes to Space. Now we've got a much more ambitious rocket this time, so hopefully we'll make it into orbit. There we go. Now, this is quite a heavier rocket than last time, so it takes a bit more to get it going. She's in the air. Begin a quick gravity turn. Save as much fuel as possible. Jeb seems to be having a good time down in the corner at least. That may all change quite soon, Jeb, don't you worry. Okay, going well. Take a nice look around as we go up, and it seems fairly stable, so we'll head over to the map view. Now, here we can see our apoaps going up. It's currently just over 10,000 metres, so we've got a bit to go. Atmosphere ends at 70,000. So we've got to get at least over that, otherwise we're obviously going to get dragged back to the planet. And then we're just going to try and get up to speed. So we're running out of fuel in the first stage now. And then the second stage would take over, all being well. Jet off into orbit. So up here, yeah, we can look at some of the dials now. We've got a bit of time. Staging coming up just about. There we go. The staging mishap. Not to worry, back to the map. Okay, and our apoaps is 80 kilometres. We'll stick there to save as much fuel as possible. Now, to try and set up a manoeuvre node as close to that as possible, and fiddle about with it until it fits. So that's 145, 80, 92, 78. Ah, that'll do. It's close enough for military work, as they say. So we've got the burn is going to take an estimated 40 seconds, and it's arriving in just over 1 minute and 20. So we'll want to start the burn 20 seconds before the node, in order that we end up splitting our change in velocity between the two things, and end up on the path we should do. Now, the only question is, do we have 1600 meters per second of delta V in this fuel tank? Maybe not. One thing we'd better do while we're up here, though, is we'll do the science, and we'll get that out of the way, so that when we come back down, we've at least done something. And there we are! Orbit! Well, space, anyway. So we've completed our contract to get up here. It'll bring in some cash, maybe even some more science. So we're coming up on the node. 10 more seconds. Close the goo bay doors. Do like action groups. Especially for science, you can use them just spam science. So here we go, pointing towards the blue maneuver point. Very small corrections. I really don't think we have enough fuel for this. As long as we don't end up in the position where we've got enough fuel to get to orbit but not enough fuel to get back. That's terrible, because then we have to send up more ships. So that's us out of fuel. How do we end up? Oh, not terribly far off, actually. I'm sure we can build a slightly bigger rocket with the science we'll gain from this anyway. Maybe strap some solid fuel boosters to the side of it. Propel ourselves skywards. So, re-entry. What we'll do is we'll jettison this main fuel tank. Now we don't need it. And as you can see here is the extra docking detachment port. And that's there just to act as a bit of a buffer zone for all the science. Because we don't want that to break should we land in water, which is notoriously perilous for tearing ships apart for no good reason. But hopefully we'll get some on land, so we'll speed up time. And now we're back to atmosphere, it's back to ×1. But we'll speed things up anyway. Oops. Now you can still manoeuvre in the atmosphere with it at ×4, which can lead to some pretty hilarious spins, but with ferrum it can be very bad. So just be careful of that. So we'll turn off stability control and just let it kind of glide itself in. Then we'll fire the parachutes. Okay, as you can see now, the atmosphere gauge is coming down. We've entered the upper atmosphere, where you'll really start to notice it. This is your kind of 30,000 meters is your kind of aerobraking area. Just a touch on the atmosphere to slow yourself down. We might use some of that later. Okay, slowing down to towards 1 kilometre a second, which is still far too fast to land. And you can see up here I've added a mod, Kerbal alarm clock, because I realised I was going to start forgetting things fairly quickly, and it's very useful for speeding up time but not missing your manoeuvre nodes, which is incredibly embarrassing. Okay, so down to a nice sedate speed, we'll launch the parachutes and hope nothing breaks when we hit the sea. Okay, parachute should open in a second. I like to reduce the time acceleration just in case. There we go. And down to a rather sedate 4.5 meters a second. Last 100 meters, Jeb. Don't worry, it was all a success. Hopefully we can get a ship out to you before this whole thing sinks. There we go. 4-0, obviously, so the crew capsule exit is at the top. Okay, so fire off the second 2 goo canisters. Take both of those. Hop out. Take that. Store that. That one. And then, last but not least, into the drink for those, and then a separate recovery for each ship.